Good day. My name is Dan Klein, and I'm a professor at George Mason University. I make this video to promote a public statement about the upcoming election. The statement expresses the intention to vote Republican in the presidential race. It is written by Dan Mahoney, Professor Emeritus at Assumption University, and me. It is brief. I'll read it in a moment. At the website, you can add your name as signer, but only if you're a tenured professor at an American school. After reading the statement, I say a few words about it and ask you to consider promoting it, even if you won't be adding your name to it. So here is the statement, the webpage, professor's statement in favor of voting for the Republican in the presidential election. We each, tenured professor, intend to vote for the Republican candidate for the presidency. In each country of the world, liberty is vital. In the United States, it is pronounced in the country's founding and spirit. The Declaration of Independence exalts life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness as the chief aims of good government, undergirded by the rule of law and common decency. Also in 1776, Adam Smith expounded a presumption in favor of, quote, allowing every man to pursue his own interest his own way upon the liberal plan of equality, liberty, and justice. Big government is at odds with what Smith called the liberal plan. We believe that by and large, it is bad to governmentalize social affairs and that it is good to de-governmentalize social affairs. One must oppose undue centralization in the economic realm, but also threats to precious rights of freedom of association, religious liberty, and free speech. We believe that Republicans are, in most instances, less inclined to governmentalize and more inclined to de-governmentalize than Democrats. Republicans are less inclined to threaten fundamental liberties. That is one reason why we believe that Republicans should be favored over Democrats. Now, why do we make this statement? One reason is to try to influence how people think about civic virtue and their role in political life of their country. Another reason is to promote old-fashioned political speech. If you think that one party or candidate is better than another, it's acceptable to express the sentiment out loud. It is okay to air our differences calmly and openly. Adam Smith said, frankness and openness conciliate confidence. That is, frankness and openness make people feel confident about who you really are and what you really think, and therefore what you'll really do. We want a culture that promotes and favors frankness and openness. Among professors, upwards of 90% favor Democrats over Republicans. Those who think the opposite, that is, that one should favor Republicans over Democrats, are a small and shrinking minority. The men and women in that minority often feel intimidated about expressing dissent from the opinion of the preponderance of their fellow professors. But the less they express dissent, the harder will it become to express dissent. The more overwhelming a majority seems to be, the harder it is to resist its injustices and abuses of power. The project seeks to alleviate the problem of self-censorship among professors. Dissent is acceptable, even admirable. Even if you will not be adding your name to the statement, consider promoting it, please, for the sake of keeping some dissent alive in sections of American society that are preponderantly on the left. As for the content, notice that we do not name candidates. That is because we feel that Americans should focus on comparing a Democrat administration and a Republican administration, as opposed to focusing on the personalities who contend for office. I feel that the main question is, what happens with Democrats in office and what happens with Republicans in office? This is not to say that the particular personality of a candidate doesn't matter. but that it is not the main question. The statement uses the term governmentalization, meaning making social affairs increasingly shaped and dominated by government. Professor Mahoney and I oppose governmentalization. In my estimation, we get more of it with Democrats in office than we do with Republicans in office, especially nowadays. I have tried to explain why I think that in a work with Zachary Yost, published at the online magazine called Fusion. You can find a link with this video. Assessing today's Democrats versus today's Republicans, and which is more likely to abuse power, corrupt democracy, and destroy the rule of law, is a serious matter of civic virtue. Also important is assessing the constraints or checks on the abuse of power. Zach and I argue that considering the ideological character of academia, the legacy media, social media, and other institutions where leftism so often dominates, it is clear that abuse of power by Republicans is more constrained or checked than is abuse of power by Democrats. So please keep that point in mind. If you are tenured at an American school, consider adding your name to the statement. You may fill out the form at the statement webpage. Alternatively, email basic information, your name, institution, title, email address, and please a URL to confirm your title to the following email address, statement2024@proton.me. That's statement2024@proton.me. We encourage you also to help the project to promote old norms of liberal democracy and academic freedom. Thank you for your attention.